Okay, good morning and welcome to Table and Able Shulchan Aruch Yomi. Today we're doing Simon Kuf Ches 108 Aruch Hayim. We're going to talk about something quite prevalent, something called Tashlumin. I'm sure you're familiar with it. Basically, that if you miss one of the tefillos and the time for that tefillah has passed, and you remembered, let's say you missed Shachris and now it's time for Mincha, can you make Shachris up? It's called Tashlumin. The answer is yes, you can. Under most circumstances, you could make it up. All the halachas of that will be explained here, therein. And let's start 12 halachas, Aleph, To, and then us. You see, it's very important that it wasn't on Bemazed. It wasn't that you purposely, I don't want to daven this morning. And then you change your mind in the afternoon. That's not good enough. To, you made a mistake. The shogeg. Onenas, or there was an ones. He was involved in monetary things or things like that. And he couldn't withhold the urge, and he just couldn't daven. The Liz Pal Shachris, he didn't daven Shachris. Mispal mincha shtayim. The halacha clearly says in brachos naf chavav you can do tashlumin. Harishona mincha v'ashniel tashlumin. The first, when you daven, it's now time for mincha. The first Shmona Esrei you should have in mind is for mincha. The second Shmona Esrei should be a makeup for shachris. Since the whole idea, I once heard from Yisachar Friend when he gave a share about this many years ago when I used to drive in the car to college, I think, or summer college. He said that the idea of Tashlumin is like a piggyback. You have to piggyback it on the real tefillah. The real tefillah now is mincha. So if you don't piggyback the shachris on mincha, so if you down the first one for shachris, then it's not good. So it has to be piggyback. It's not kedai. It's not the time for shachris. So it'd have to be coming off the strength of a mincha. So lo yatsi dei tefillah shehi tashlum. You're not yosei tefillah, which is tashlum. You're obviously yosei for mincha, the second tefillah, because it's man mincha. The start last and you have to go ahead. Now you daven mincha. Your second one counted as mincha, so now daven another one after that for shachris. Anytime we're talking about tashlumin, the tashlumin is always the second one after the first davening of the zman, the appropriate tefillah for that zman. Bez tavlo ispal mincha. Similarly, if you didn't daven mincha, you made a mistake, you didn't daven mincha, mispal arvishtayim. You can make it up with marav. Even though marav we paskin is rishus, technically you don't have to daven it. We were makabel as a chova, according to the Rif. So therefore, Harishon Arv Hashnil Tashlumin. The first one is for Marav, second one is for Mincha. Tell this spell Arv. The second also, if you made a mistake in daven Marav, this Bal Shachris. Likewise, you can daven Shachris twice. Harishon Shachris Hashnil Tashlumin. The second one is for Marav. Lachash Omer Yotzer Shmona Esrei. In this case, where you're making a Marav, right? You say Berachos Kriyash, then you say Shmona Esrei of Shachris. You don't daven Marav right away. Yomer Ashrei B'Achrach Yispal. First, you say Ashrei. I think Uval Tzion also. And then you daven Yispal Shmona Esrei Tashlumei Arv, then you make up Amarav, because every davening is supposed to have a supplication of Divrei Torah before, and so Ashrei is good to precede any davening. The same halacha applies when you daven Marav twice in order to make up a mincha. Yomer Ashrei ben tefillah tefillah. Every case of Tashlum, you say Ashrei in between the tefillahs in order that the second tefillah, it's still connected to the first tefillah, but it should have its own supplication of Divrei Torah beforehand, so therefore you prepare your thoughts before you embark on new tefillah. Gimel, hadamashma tefillah shehifsid, dafka b'zman tefillah. That which you can make it up, it's only talking about b'zman tefillah. Avavasha she'ein zman tefillah lo. Meaning, the time we learn for davening shachris in the morning is really until 4 hours into the day, according to the Magen Avraham one opinion, Gra a different opinion. However, after the 4 hours are over, your makal, you can still daven, but it's not called tefillah bismana. So if you didn't daven marav and now you want to daven shachris twice, so if now it's past 10 o'clock in the morning or 4 hours into the day, and you want to daven tefillah shachris, technically you still daven tefillah shachris, but you can no longer add on to the marav from last night. Dalet ein tashlumin ala tefillah hasmucha bilvad. You can only make it up the tefillah thereafter. Shim Tavel is Pal Shachas, V'lo Mincha is Pal Arvis Shtayim. Achron Tashlum Mincha, Val Shachas, Elon Tashlum. If you didn't daven Shachas, you didn't daven Mincha, and now it's Marav, so you can only make up Mincha, you can't make up Shachas. So Chemishar Tefillah, similarly, all the other Tefillahs you can only make up the most recent one. Hey, Aval Pish Ein Tashlum and Al Tefillah, Smucha Laos Tefillah, even though technically you can only make up the preceding Tefillah, Tefillah Shehiv Sid Elon Tashlum, right? You didn't daven Shachas and Mincha, now it's Marav. If you lost Shachas, you must at follow. So if you want to daven Shachas, the Soras in the Dava, like we discussed in Kuf Zayin, a voluntary tefillah, v'shechadish b'shum davar, or shus b'yadav v'nachal na'asas kain, you can make it up as a tefillah in the Dava. I don't know whether it counts as chakras or not in Shamayim, but it's a Nachal Nasas Kain. The Shulchan said it's a good idea. Where he gets it from, it's a good idea to do this. But if you want to, if you feel you want to daven and you missed out on something, you could do it. But you have to mechadish b'davar, like any tefillas in davar. You have to have a new bakasha of avar kol yom l'spal musaf. The whole day passed, you didn't daven musaf, right? You have the whole day to daven musaf until shkia. After shkia passes, ain't la tashlum, and you can't make up musaf because musaf has specific words in it where you mention the karbanos on musaf. Karbanos musaf have to be brought during that day where the karban musaf is brought. So if the day is already over, shkia has come, you no longer make up musaf, right? If I make up a regular day, I make up shachris, I make up mincha or marav. So those tefillas apply all the time. So it's always the zman for that tefillah. Maybe not for the chiyuv of the tefillah, but the tefillah itself applies. Musaf only applies during its time. Zayin hizir lo yispal tefillah achas. Now, this is clear from the Gemara that if you did it on purpose, you're rebellious. You're the part of the rebel production team. You're rebellious. You decided, I hate Judaism, I'm not davening shachris. You can't go ahead and then you do tshuva by mincha. You can't make up that shachris. However, like we said before, you can daven it tefillas and daven. According to the Shulchan Aruch, you don't have to mechadish b'davar. However, the Mishnah Berurah brings the Bach and the Gra do paskin. It seems the Mishnah Berurah also paskins that you would be have to mechadish b'davar because you're not yotzei with the tefillah. You can't make it up, so you can't make up the chakras that you missed of amazed. So you have to mechadish b'davar to tefillas and dava. The opinion that you don't have to mechadish b'davar, I don't really understand. Chet mishalo ispal ba'oshi yish lo zman l'ispal misha savar shadayin yishar lo zman akash yigmar also. Right? Let's see. He plans. He's going to daven shachris a little later. He's busy now in the morning with the stock market. He's going to daven a little later. And he realized it's too late. I can't daven anymore. Well, that's really the case I just gave before. He's in stock market, or let's say he's opening his store. I don't know. Shalo Yavo de Hefsted doesn't want to lose money. It's busy hour, 11 o'clock in the morning. But they got Hefsted Milaspalo. He didn't daven. You're drunk. You didn't daven. They're at least considered shogim or anusim. They're considered it wasn't their fault. They didn't do it b'mezid. They didn't do it on purpose. So therefore, they have to technically, the right thing is even if you know you're going to lose money, you should make sure to daven, even if it'll cost you money. How much money has to cost you? I think the Shulchan Aruch says up to a third of your profit. Ta velo hispala mincha be'erev Shabbos. Now, what about when the second tefillah is different than the first tefillah? Normally, shachris mincha and marav is the same as Shemona Esrei. However, let's say you didn't daven mincha on erev Shabbos. Now Shabbos has started. The Shabbos tefillah at marav is very different than marav during the week or mincha during the week. Mispal arvish shtayim shel Shabbos. What do you do? This happened to me a couple of times. You daven. I was Kabbalah Shabbos too early. I was Kabbalah Shabbos like 10 hours earlier to Mekayim all the shitas, all the chumras when I was in my from days, and I realized I'm Kabbalah Shabbos. I didn't daven mincha, so now it's Shabbos already. What do you do? So you daven two maras of Shabbos. Even though the second tefillah shel Shabbos, technically it's a condensed version of the tefillah of the week, which you're allowed to daven. Technically, it has the main parts of Shemona Esrei are the ends, 3 brachas at the end, 3 brachas at the beginning. In the middle, you have to have a bakasha or minyano shel yom of Shabbos, so that's okay with the Eved. Hagavahu dinim lo ispal mincha be'erev Rosh Chodesh. Similarly, erev Rosh Chodesh, you didn't daven mincha. Mispal shel Rosh Chodesh. Now it's Rosh Chodesh and Marav Shtayim, and you mentioned Yalav Yav. We'll see. V'imlo hizkir Yalav Yav b'Rishona hizkir b'Shnia. Now you davened your 2 Shemanis on Rosh Chodesh. And the first one you said Yalav Yav. Well, the second one you didn't. Tzarich lachzar lispalo. Right? Sorry. Lo hizkir Yalav Yav Rishona. You didn't mention the first one. Hizkir b'Shnia. You mentioned the second one. And the second one is making up for the tefillah that you don't need Yalav Yav. So it must be the one you said Yalav Yav counts for the tefillah of Achshav. So therefore you didn't do the Tashlumin in the right order. The Tashlumin preceded the tefillah of now, and therefore it doesn't work. Because Tashlumin Tzarich lachzar lispalo. You have to go ahead and daven another time to make up the tefillah of mincha. If you didn't mention Yalav in either of them, right? If you mention the first one, the second one, so it's okay because technically the second one is really for mincha that was before Rosh Chodesh. You don't have to say Alav Yavo. And if you didn't mention both of them, so then we could assume the first one is even for Ma'ariv of now because technically the halacha is Yalav Yavo and Ma'ariv. You don't have to be choser, but if you left out Yalav Yavo and Rosh Chodesh at night, you don't have to go back. Either the first night or the second night, you don't have to go back. So therefore, we can assume the first one was tefillah for now, and the second one is tashlumin. You had tavlo ispal mincha b'Shabbos. You didn't daven mincha on Shabbos. Mispal Moshe Shabbos. Now Moshe Shabbos, right? You're supposed to have only 7 brachos on mincha on Shabbos. Now you have 18 brachos, right? Shtayim shelcho. You do 2 shmona esreis of what now the time is mavdal b'rishona, eno mavdal b'shniya. Right, the halacha is you only have to say Havdalah once, right? So you have to say it in one of now, the Ma'ariv. The second tefillah is Tashlum. You don't say Havdalah. Right, you have to say Havdalah in the second one. Shniya also lo, Rishon lo also lo. Then obviously the second one's for now, and therefore you weren't piggybacking the Tashlum on back of it, so you have to have another one for Mincha. If you made Havdalah on both of them, Allah Hivdal b'Shteyan Yatza. If you did b'Shteyan, so you can say both the first one was for Ma'ariv. If you didn't make Havdalah, so technically it's not ma'akiv b'di'evet. If you don't say Havdalah in tefillah, you can say Havdalah al kos. So therefore, we can still assume we don't say Havdalah in either of them. We can still assume the first one was for Ma'ariv and the second one was for Mincha. Yidal if tava Mincha shal Shabbos, you made a mistake. The Mincha shal Shabbos is Pal Shmona Esrei L'Hizkiah shal Shabbos. This halach is not really about Tashlumin, about making up a tefillah. On Shabbos, you left out. You daven a regular Shmona Esrei Mincha at Shabbos. You didn't mention Shabbos. Minyan shal Yom. Mispal Moshe Shabbos Shtayim Eino Mavdal B'Shniya. So now technically you didn't daven. We'll see actually some other Rishonim whether you didn't daven at all or you didn't daven with the addition of the Inyan Shal Shabbos. Mispal Moshe Shabbos Shtayim. You have to daven. You have to make it up on Moshe Shabbos. So Eino Mavdal B'Shniya. You don't make Havdalah in the second one. Mispal Osa B'Toras Nedava. You daven the second one B'Toras Nedava. The Eino Sarich L'Chadish B'Davar. The second one is Tfilas Nedava because it could be. We're going to see one opinion in the Rishonim that technically if you daven a weekday Shemona Esrei and Mincha and Shabbos, you're Yotzei already. You just didn't get this extra addition of Me'ina Ma'ora, of mentioning Shabbos, so you're Yotzei already. So therefore, it's not really a clear-cut case of Tashlumin. So therefore, you have to Safek, Toras Nedava. You don't have to Machadish B'Davar because the Safek, like I mentioned in Kuf Zayin, is the reason your Machadish is called a Chiddush. Similarly, it's Mincha of Rosh Chodesh. You didn't say Yalav Yavo. Now, right? You daven Tefillah Shmona Esrei at Mincha. Now you're making a Ma'ariv Shtayim, so you can daven 2 Ma'ariv. The second one should be in the Nedava because maybe you're Yotzei. We'll discuss more in Ian to lean on this Machlokes Balei Tosfos whether the Tefillah counts. You just weren't Yotzei Yalav Yavo, or the Tefillah is null and void. You'd base Hatoa Umaskir Ma'ora Shar Yamim Tefillah Shlo Bezmana. Let's say it's not Rosh Chodesh or not Sukkot, and you started to mention Rosh Chodesh in your tefillah. So you added Yalav Yavo. That doesn't consider it a half-say according to the Shulchan Aruch. If you realized, right, that you made a mistake, right, and you're really Yalav Yavo, you stop saying Yalav Yavo and just go back to the regular bracha. You're not supposed to be saying this. There's an opinion in the Shulchan Aruch that it's not considered a hafsaka. Mishnah Berurah brings a day that it is considered a hafsaka. It's like sicha. It's like talking in the middle of your tefillah. We learn in Siman Kuf Dalet that if you start talking to your friend in the middle of tefillah about the news, so you have to go back to the beginning of the bracha. If you're in the middle of brachos of Shemona Esrei, if you're in the first 3 brachos, last 3 brachos, you have to go back to the beginning of Shemona Esrei. And the last 3 brachos for sicha b'teila, just smoothing with somebody, you have to go back to the beginning of the last 3 brachos to Ritzei. That's the conclusion of today's shir. Stay tuned for Ian Tolina. We discuss this machlokes Rishonim over here about Me'ina Ma'ora, mentioning Shabbos, mentioning Rosh Chodesh and Yalav Yavo. If you didn't mention it, is it considered to be that you damaged Shemona Esrei, but you're missing a portion of that Shemona Esrei, but it's still b'diavad something, or is it nothing? Stay tuned for Ian to lean on coming up next, where we discuss this further.